Time Religion.
This is Beatbox Radio, Affinity Radio. My name is Adam. This is the Old Time Religion Radio Hour. I got Casey Hopkins in the studio. Brooklyn garage blues rocker, would you say?
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that works.
I forgot to press a button.
Okay.
Tell us where you're from, man.
I'm originally, I was born in Texas, but I didn't live there very long. And I spent pretty much my entire life in West Palm Beach, Florida.
I know it well.
You know West Palm well?
Yeah, my wife is from Wellington.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. And interestingly enough, I've had another bluesman, Strange Magic. I don't know if you've heard of him. He plays a bunch of gigs around town. He is also from West Palm Beach, Florida.
What? What's his name?
His name is David Patillo. Yeah.
Dude, this is crazy.
It's kind of like asking like all Europeans, like, you know, it's like asking her like, hey, do you know Leonard Cohen? Like, you know, like Wellington's a big, West Palm Beach is a big place.
Yeah, right.
You know? But thanks so much for coming in, man. I saw you at our mutual Garageland gig about a month ago, I guess now. We got another one coming up on November 30th.
November 30th.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one.
November.
Yeah, right. People need the levity and perhaps the headbanginess. But man, I think you were like pretty drunk.
A little bit.
I was decently buzzed, and you went on stage after like some pretty loud bands. Winston's was on up before you. Yeah, they brought it, and I immediately Tommy is the guy who runs Garageland. I was just shocked at how loud and rowdy you were right off the bat. Because when people hear blues act, they're like, oh, okay, woke up this morning, but you were fucking some punk energy to it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So where does your history with the blues come from, and how did it fuse into that kind of punk rock attitude?
I mean, my history with the blues, my dad loved blues music. He loved soul music and rhythm and blues. So, by the time that I was like 10 years old, he'd already tried to push my brother Ryan into playing guitar. So I had ancillary knowledge of blues music, and my dad was obsessed, and probably like a lot of dads. With Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Okay.
Back in the day.
A lot of dads in the 90s.
Yeah. Dude, they were just like, yes, dude, he's the coolest person ever.
Yeah.
So, from a young age, my dad was pushing that onto us, and by the time that I started playing guitar, my initial things that I was going to, I loved AC/DC.
Yep.
I loved skate music, like kids were listening to like Dead Kennedys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But my dad, he was okay with AC/DC. He wasn't so much okay with the punk stuff. So he was like, let me show you the blues. So he
just let me show you some real music.
Yeah. He's like, so he kicked on like a lot of Stevie Ray, and then like Hendrix, and then from there going back listening to like Son House, Muddy Waters, Mississippi Fred McDowell. He listened to a ton of different music, and he was trying to push that onto me. And conveniently, right around that time, he was doing that the Martin Scorsese blues series. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, man. I grew up very sheltered, so I probably started learning about music at the same time you did.
Well, that was coming out, and that was something that we watched together, and he got the box set for it. So it had a full range of blues music from like the early 1900s. Sure. All up to like modern stuff.
And that stuff's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, mind you, I didn't listen to much stuff past like 1983 on that box set, but it was great. And around that time too, like you had bands like Black Keys, like Jack White Stripes coming up. So it was just like, okay, there's people throwing it back to different types of blues. So really, that's where that came from. Is I explored through my influences.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. So, what brought you to New York City?
Well, when I was a kid, I lived in New York for a couple of years.
Okay.
Like 2 years on and off, because my brother was on Broadway.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was in Sound of Music and King and I.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the whole reason that a guitar even came into the house. Because he had to learn how to play guitar for Sound of Music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he had to strum some G chords.
What a crazy line of events.
Yeah.
And then your whole family came out here?
Well, no, my dad would stay in Florida, and he would work, and he would partly be supporting us, and we would partly be living off of what my brother was making.
Sure.
So like we would basically take turns. We'd switch. We'd come out during the summer, come out during the winter, and then we'd bounce back and forth between there and Florida. But my brother, after a certain point, he didn't want to do acting. He didn't want to do musical theater.
It's a rough business.
No, it is. And by the time he was 13, he was burnt out.
Oh, so he was like the child actor.
He was a child actor.
Is this your younger brother or your
older brother?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Now he is he's a successful business owner. He owns Soho Strength Lab.
Okay.
He's a gym owner. He does like powerlifting. Yeah, total opposite thing.
This is a wonderful story.
Yeah, no, it is. And basically from there, like, he moved up to New York, back up to New York in like 2006, 2007.
Okay.
He tried acting probably for about like a year, but that always like put it in my mind, like, my brother's up here, like, I used to be here as a kid, like, this place is so cool, and a lot of my friends are moving here. And it just seems like a hub for music and creativity and a lot of media and stuff like that too. So it's like, if I'm doing music, you know, I need to be there. Obviously,
West Palm Beach, you'd end up in like a cover band or something.
Yeah, no.
No, I know the story. Yeah. I go there for 3 months every summer. That's what I see.
Cover bands, white reggae bands.
Yep.
I mean, you'll have some blues bands down there.
A lot of metal bands.
Yeah,
too.
well, no, there's some metal bands, but there also is like a huge independent music scene in South Florida, and that's not to take away from them, because there are a lot of bands that do that stuff. There are bands that have broke out of South Florida.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
But it is a mix, and it does influence everything. And you'll see like original bands having cover sets up there. Like, I'll do some covers in my set right now, but those are only songs that I really like. And like, you know, like, you'll have bands in South Florida, like, they will cover like all the classic rock stuff.
Sure.
Like region definitely influences people, and like I've even been influenced by that a little bit. Hopefully not in the bad way. So.
Well, that's awesome, man. Now, how long have you been here? Like since this last time?
2 years and 8 months now.
And you've been playing gigs that whole time, from what I understand. No, really? When did you start the duo trio thing?
Well, I started doing the duo stuff and the trio stuff in Florida, but I started a band right before I moved up. My idea was like, I'm starting this band, and I'm gonna take up all these songs I recorded, and then I'm gonna promote it like hell, and then we're gonna play shows and like have this all going. Then that band broke up, literally right before then. So the first year I was here, I was working. I was stranded. I had songs I had recorded. I had, you know, a vinyl that I had in the works that was coming out, but I was screwed. So I found a drummer, ironically, through Craigslist, and he was great.
Okay.
And then we started playing, and very quickly we like had people kind of take notice.
Okay.
You know? And like one of the first places that we were playing was Good Room in Garageland.
Yeah.
And that's how I met Tommy, and Tommy is, you know, always been a big supporter, and like from there I've met people that were, you know, very complimentary and very encouraging.
It's a fun show, man. Like I remember you said you were playing through a bass amp, and it was just the heaviest blues, like, and your bass player and your drummer just really get after it too. It's a really good live experience, and Tommy and I are sitting there behind the booth just jumping up and down. You know, awesome stuff, man.
Yeah,
awesome stuff.
Tommy is a jumper.
Yeah, he's a jumper. Yeah. So I have some Stevie Ray Vaughan pulled up for you.
Oh, cool. What song?
Live Another Day Live.
Okay, cool.
And we're going to play that. I'm going to come back in just a minute with Casey Hopkins. You're listening to the Old Time Religion Radio Hour on Bebox Radio, Infinity Radio. Hit us up, OTR_Radio Hour, if you want to hear, or if you want to ask him a question. I'll see what I can do. Next up, Double Trouble.
Giving that old time religion.
That was Luther Allison. Bad news is coming.
Bad is
truer words. Before that,
couldn't even speak.
The Blown Free from the new Writing Easy compilation, Brown Acid. Have you heard of Brown Acid?
Not the band.
It's not a band. It's the band. The name of that band was Blown Free. The Wizard was the name of the track.
Okay.
And sorry everybody, I started playing that at 45 RPMs at first because I'm a clumsy klutz. But Writing Easy Records puts out these compilations called Brown Acid. It's all like 70 bands from the 70s that only put out one single.
Yeah, I think I have heard of that.
Yeah, it's I play it all the time, and I highly recommend it.
Okay.
And then that is out now. That came out on Halloween. And before that, we started with your hero Stevie Ray.
Yep.
With Live Another Day, live performance of that. So we talked about a lot of stuff over the break.
Yeah.
But you said you had a funny story. So we have a mutual friend, Tommy, who runs Garageland in up at Greenpoint at Good Room. He's an older British expat.
Oh,
he's not that old.
He's not. He's
a young man. But you said you had a funny story because you played CMJ.
Yeah, we did CMJ at the Good Room last year.
Okay.
And one of the things I always wanted to do when I moved up here was to play CMJ, because I knew friends that had good amount of success from doing that.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's happening anymore. I think that was the last year, ironically.
Yeah, you broke it, Casey.
Yeah, I fucked it up. Yeah. God damn it. Everyone blame me. But no, they were having it at Good Room, and the kid that was booking it at the time was this kid, Tony. It was Tony and Tommy putting it together. And Tony always had this tendency to stack bills. So it'd be like 7-8 bands.
Yeah, so, I've heard a lot about that in New York, yeah.
So it was like a CMJ extravaganza of like all the bands that you would want to play and like the bands that were supposed to play. Sure. It was an awesome show, especially because a lot of the bands are doing a lot of stuff now. But just from the lineup of it, I was like, oh shit. You know, I thought I was going to play earlier, but it ended up being kind of delayed. And I see the Eddie Hazel coming.
Yes.
I thought I was going to play earlier, but it ended up being so delayed. I ended up going on like the prime spot that had been like advertised, and
oh really?
So, yeah, okay. And like Village Voice and all this stuff. It was like the spot for another band, and like my set went really, really, really well.
That's awesome.
It was like probably up until that point the best show that I had played in New York as a duo. Okay. And, you know, I had a lot of good stuff going on. I was like, oh, this is great, this CMJ show. And people are totally going to remember that I had a dope set that night. But nope, because it ended up going so late that everyone's set, you know, was delayed. So the final two bands were going to go on at like 2 and 3 respectively.
Oh, Jesus, that's just too late.
Yeah, so the second to last band, Surfboard, were playing, and they go crazy every time they're playing live, and they especially were back then. And like in the midst of this mayhem where someone started fighting someone in the crowd because they were throwing beer on somebody. Okay. Just a bunch of mayhem happened. A microphone stand got knocked over. Oh, Tommy, you know, thought that a microphone got thrown.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he thought one of the band members threw a microphone trying to be punk rock. So Tommy automatically was just like, fuck this. This is not punk rock.
Yeah.
You don't hurt our equipment. Like, we do this as a community. This is not what I want. I don't give a fuck who you are. So the whole night ended in a giant argument between the people that were fighting in the crowd and trying to unsort the situation.
Right.
And the last band ended up playing, and
this is at like 3 in the morning.
This is at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Christ.
So
up in Greenpoint.
Yeah, up in Greenpoint, and then they realized that maybe we should do like an 8-band bill.
when I first moved here, I tried to like get in bands and things like that, and I always heard about my friends getting booked, and it was like that. It was like that. Like between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. they tried to fit 10 bands in.
Yeah, and it ended up being one of those things where all the bands were great, and there was people there to watch them every time. But the headliners that you have for the night, no one wants to stay out at 2 or 3 a.m. on a Wednesday.
Yeah, at some point you got to catch the train back home. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where it's like, oh man, of course I knew, like, all everyone's gonna remember from that show
is the mayhem at the end.
It turned into a near riot, but it was a good experience. Like that was the thing, is I got to do that, and I got to see what that was like, and it was just another thing. And that's what you realize.
Well, now give some shout outs to your band, because they were. I mean, you know, you were definitely the wizard up there, but they were like,
oh yeah,
they were
Dylan
laying it down.
Yeah, Dylan on the bass. He's been playing with me for a while. He's also from South Florida originally. Dylan Fernandez. He's over in Boston right now. He's going to the Berklee School of Music.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, both him and my drummer went there. Dylan is, I think, finishing up there, and he's most likely moving out here.
That's great.
To New York City in January.
All right.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I've been playing with him since he was like 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah, now he's like probably 22, 23 or something.
All right, like that. So that's a long time. Yeah. That explains the fit. Yeah. And then I noticed the drummer you had last month wasn't the same drummer I've seen in the past.
Well, no, the one in the past was actually a drummer from Florida, Mark Du Bois. He was he was visiting up here with the plan of moving up here.
Right.
But it was one of those things too, like people get intimidated if you're moving from like Florida or something like that.
I moved from Denver.
Yeah.
And I was very intimidated.
Yeah, no, it's a total intimidating thing, and like as much as I would love for him to be up here to like play drums and stuff, like he has his own thing, and maybe he will at some point.
Sure.
But you know, like Ryan is a friend of Dylan's originally, and I met him, and it was an instant fit. And we actually, when I was doing the trio stuff first in New York, he was the drummer that I was doing. But after he finished up at Berklee, he moved back to California.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So what he's been doing out there is he's been doing like a lot of production and licensing stuff.
Right.
For television shows. He just did one for Netflix. I can't say for who, because he might
might not be ready yet.
No, he does a lot of that, and what he came back and he's been bouncing back and forth. So for the past 2 months, he was living with me in my apartment. So we're doing this thing where we're finding kind of like new people to live in there. Maybe he's gonna, move out here for a longer thing.
Yeah.
And
so you got kind of a rotating roster.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, that's how it's kind of been. Like, I have people that will consistently do it. I mean, I've only had one person ever quit on me.
Okay, all right.
So I think out of 8,
you're a good boss.
Yeah, I like to think so. I like to think so. Maybe even if I'm a little disorganized, maybe I'm a good boss.
I feel, and again, I can't stress enough the energy that was. Despite the fact that all these technical problems were going wrong at the time.
Oh yeah.
How just the energy of that set was incredible. And anybody who's a fan of like garage music or blues music or punk music at all, I just can't stress enough, especially after a few beers, it's amazing. It's a really energetic and like muscular kind of vibe.
Appreciate
for sure.
it.
Yeah, man.
That's the word, is muscular.
Muscular.
Yeah.
Muscular. Hopkins. Muscular. That's on your tombstone one day.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's just gonna be in quotations. ... Muscular.
So tell me, like, how do you go about? Because you did do a couple of standards, I heard. So how do you go about like the songwriting process? Like, do you just kind of like do the riffs come first? Where do the lyrics come from?
I mean, that's the thing, is it kind of differs from time to time. Like some of the songs, like I will just play.
Yeah.
And I'll be riffing through it, and I'll kind of have an idea, and I'll be singing with it. But a lot of the time, like I know like a lot of songwriters and stuff like that, they'll write the music and then they'll write the lyrics. And so, sometimes I'll do that, or I'll fine tune the lyrics after. But there's plenty of times I'll just be riffing and I'll start singing with it. And I've literally just written songs by playing them out, and just, and it's just a matter of remembering it.
Yeah, right. Point. A lot of tape recordings. Yeah.
A lot of phone recordings.
So we got a lot of time left, but so we talked about funk a little bit. We got about a minute to talk about this, and you were telling me you were talking about was it not Funkadelic but Parliament and like that kind of stuff, and how
Funkadelic too. Yeah.
So tell me about how funk kind of fits into your ethos.
So like I was saying, when I was growing up, I loved blues. I love punk music. But like I moved more towards blues, But after my father passed, I was 18 years old. Oh. So everything after that, I had no filter as far as that, and I had the internet, so I could listen to whatever I want. I didn't have someone being like, "Oh, that's that's not of like something that's of good moral standing."
Right.
So I was listening to whatever, and I got back into punk music. I got really heavy into funk music. She knows half the people that were in the band. At the time, but I had a band that I started right when I got out of high school. It's called Shit Ton of Funk.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing, it was centered around people that just loved Funkadelic and like Parliament and all those old 70s bands. And like I got into that heavily. Like I love the Collins brothers. Like Bootsy and Catfish. Like Bootsy, like the way that he plays bass, he has like a funk formula.
Sure.
And it's like you come back in on the one, you put everything like kind of in between there, and that was something like when I really got into funk music and started to like listen to that approach, I realized like how it tied into a lot of stuff that my dad loved, like the JBs and stuff like that, and James Brown, because it's the same like for like Parliament and stuff like that. It's the same rhythm section almost, because you have Bootsy on bass,
Oh yeah.
So it's like I realized that why it kind of hit me in that way, and how it was like the natural progression. And like even Hendrix, like towards the end with like Band of Gypsies and stuff like that, he was going funky.
Oh yeah. I have something. One of my favorite songs by him it's called different things, but Power of Soul.
Yeah.
And that's just like. And a lot of people don't realize, and I play a lot of stuff on my show, but I think like psychedelic music, garage, punk, blues, soul, and funk are all cousins, basically.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And when you pull them together, there's not a whole lot of, like, so I'm playing Eddie Hazel right now.
There are people that call it,
Eddie, like, Funkadelic is psychedelic music.
Yeah,
it's the whole name.
Advertised originally as psychedelic rock.
Yeah, and it is. Yeah. Or like the Chambers Brothers too. There was like mixtures of funk and like old doo-wop and stuff in there as well.
Have you ever heard The Parliaments?
Yes, I'll Wait is one of the greatest songs I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, their version of I'll Wait. I played that at the gig.
I didn't hear it.
It's all right. It was a wild time. Yeah. And that's the one thing. So Garage Band. Yeah, Garage Land. Tommy puts together. You'll be headlining the next one as well. It's every Wednesday. There's something similar to it. But the Garageland is going to start moving to monthly, I guess. I'm spinning records there. You're playing there. Who's playing at this next one? Because it's kind of I forgot to write it all down.
I don't remember everybody. But I remember a couple of the people that are playing. One of them is Paul Collins of The Beat.
Yes.
Which is a great band.
Pretty legendary.
Yeah, legendary. He wrote "Hanging on the Telephone."
Yeah.
By Blondie.
And a lot of people don't realize that he's the reason that the English Beat, had to change their name to the English Beat.
Yeah.
Because he was running the Beat.
Well, and
before.
that's why it became Paul Collins Beat too.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's playing, and he's playing as a duo, which is going to be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And Lord Youth. That's one of the other bands that's playing.
I don't know much about them.
Yeah, neither do I. But Tommy says they're good, so I'll take his word for it.
It's going to be a great bill. That's November 30th. I had a blast last time.
Yeah,
it was a great time.
And there's a guy, David Strange, playing.
Yeah, he was Courtney Love's original guitarist back in the day.
Was he Courtney Love's original guitar player?
He was like the guitar player in Hole.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And then they just released an album on October 14th. He did.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're gonna be there, and Lord Youth. I think that's everybody. Actually.
I think. Okay.
So check it out, Garageland. We'll probably mention it again. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna let Eddie Hazel play for a minute.
Oh,
we're gonna follow it up with some Muddy Waters. You're listening to Bebox Radio, Affinity Radio. Very nice young man, Casey Hopkins, in here with me.
A very nice young man.
Very nice young man. Very muscular. Right now, Eddie Hazel, California Dream, and you're listening to Bebox Radio, Affinity Radio, Old Time Religion Radio Hour. Hit me up, OTR_Radio Hour. We'll see you in just a second.
There's something to this old time religion.
Shout out to Nardware.
You just heard AC/DC, Baby Please Don't Go.
Oh, baby, please don't go.
One of my favorite songs, the first time I heard Van Morrison do that, I just fell in love with it, and they really, really hammer it home.
Oh, yeah.
Before that, Muddy Waters, Let's Spend the Night Together. Before that, one I play on the show, Entirely Too Much, Freelance Fiend by Leaf Hound. Highly recommend. Growers of Mushroom is the name of the record, dude. You gotta check it out. And Funkadelic before that, Good to Your Ear Hole. And then California Dream and Eddie Hazel started off that last little set. So I'm here with Casey Hopkins, Brooklyn blues rocker. Hola. We've been talking about a bunch of stuff, and right now, so thanks for coming, by the way, in case we run out of time.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, man, you're welcome back anytime. And so what's coming up next? Now we've already talked about November. What other things are coming up?
This Tuesday, I am playing at Ethel's Alcohol and Food.
That's another Tommy show, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the official name, but at Ethel's.
Ethel's.
Upper East Side. I'm going to be doing an acoustic show with Tall Juan.
I've heard a lot about Tall Juan.
Tall Juan is he's a heck of a dude. He's Argentinian, and he plays the classical guitar like he's playing it like an electric. He goes all at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like when he starts playing, he's like transported in his mind to being the lead of the Ramones. It's pretty great. He also is very high energy.
Okay.
So that will be a fun one.
That's Tuesday at Ethel's. Okay.
Tuesday at Ethel's.
All right. Is there cover 21 Up, all that fun stuff? Or?
I don't know if there's a cover, so you should definitely come. But it's a bar, so I'm assuming it's
there'll be alcohol for sale.
There will definitely be alcohol for sale.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. And then what else is coming up?
What else is coming up?
So I'll say this. So shoot out your Bandcamp address there.
Oh, yeah. My Bandcamp is thecaseyhopkinsduo.bandcamp.com.
And there's only 5 tracks up there.
Yes,
at the moment.
I
like 5. All of them.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I have way more, and I'm working on more songs and stuff to put out too. It's just everything that I've done, I've pretty much self-produced or almost self-produced it all myself. So, I'm working on trying to figure out the right people to do it. Like, I have people in mind, people that I've talked to about it that have produced some of my favorite bands. Like, I don't want to, name.
Yeah, sure.
But, it's like one of those things where the next songs that are going to come out are going to be pretty killer, too. So,
awesome,
I'm excited. Yeah, we're going to have a lot more upset.
I'm really excited, too. And again, that live show, I don't know what the acoustic show is like.
Oh, the acoustic show, you get to hear my voice a lot more.
Fair enough. So, but I mean, I when I downloaded the songs, I was just like, oh my god, this is just like the show. This is great. Very heavy. I played. You weren't here, but I played John Spencer Blues Explosion.
Oh, I love them. Yeah,
that song "Whale." Yeah. That was the big song in the '90s.
Yeah,
I thought it was appropriate for this week.
Oh yeah. No, John Spencer is a huge influence, and like the store that I work at, Pentatonic Guitars too. Like my boss absolutely loves him. When we were
talk about Pentatonic too for a minute, because they actually were the sponsors for the show. They actually donate a bunch of equipment to GarageLand as well. So sorry, finish your story.
Yeah. Well, about Pentatonic Guitars, the guy Seth there, he loves blues, he loves punk music. He's just an old dude, loves that shit.
Yeah.
And he's had that store going now for about 7 years, and I started working there back in March.
Okay.
And it's a great place to work, and it's awesome. It's different from a lot of guitar stores that you would go to, because like they don't have things like, there isn't one $4,000 guitar in that store.
Yeah.
The most expensive guitar technically is $3,000, but most of our stuff is pretty affordable as far as what you get. And
it's like a working musician shop.
Yes, it's definitely a working musician shop.
Yeah, Lou from Winston said that he buys his harmonicas there.
Yeah. No, Lou comes in all the time. We have a ton of pedals, like a ton of rare guitars and rare pedals and like gear and stuff for people to come by and use and purchase. So working there is kind of like a blessing, because I realize a lot of musicians and stuff aren't able to mess around with gear all the time.
Yeah.
So
you get plenty of times to test the sounds.
Yes, no, everything is thoroughly tested, and it all works. So.
And you took over their Instagram recently as well, and it's at Pentatonic.
At Pentatonic Guitars, I've been
and it's
doing,
hysterical.
Yeah, I've been doing Instagrams for them. If you remember, did you ever know who Ron Popeil was?
No.
Did you ever see at like very late night, you would see like these? Well, Ron Popeil wasn't this, but it's the same type of thing, like the cheesy salesmanship.
Sure.
Where you would see people selling like used cars.
Yeah.
Shit at like 3 a.m. in the morning, they'd be like, "What an amazing deal!"
Come on down, and we'll get you.
Come on down to Shelley's fucking automobiles, and we'll get you the best deal.
I grew up in the Midwest, so like 90% of commercials are that. Yeah, exactly that commercial. Yeah.
But same thing in kind of South Florida. People putting on these weird accents to get you come down.
Yeah. And it's always some family,
Yeah, no.
In Missouri, it was Bomarito.
Bomarito.
The Bomarito Ford.
The guy that would do it in Florida, that I always remember, he would dress up in like a suit full of question marks. So when I
like the Riddler.
Yeah, pretty much. He looked like the fucking Riddler.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things, like when I started working there, I was like, I gotta be able to advertise and sell some of the stuff. My boss, because I'd be messing around with stuff, he's like, you need to sell some stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna start doing all these little joke ads.
Yeah.
So I started doing them, and people have been responding really well to it.
They're fun, and they're short.
Yeah.
And they're not like obtrusive. You don't have to click on it if you don't want to.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. That's the thing, and we ended up we did something with Vice too, where they wanted me to do a dating advice series on their their Snapchat on the basis of it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was hilarious. Yeah, hilarious is the way I did it. It lasted 2 episodes, and then it got the X. But they were like, Casey, you got all these, like, I can't say the exact number because probably the lady would still be mad. You got all these hundreds of thousands of views on it, but that's not very much. So we're going to have to cut that off. And I'm like, okay, that's cool.
I find when you stop doing things for fun, especially when it's social media, if you stop doing that kind of stuff and making it fun, people know the difference. Yeah. They're like, oh, he's clearly working at that. Yeah. And the appeal goes away.
Well, the thing was, it was fine, and I was disappointed, but I realized it's like I put like the Instagram stuff, I make all that stuff myself, all the Pentatonic stuff. But with them, it's like I was literally just acting. They were filming me, and
you were like their spokesman.
Yeah. Well, I wrote the scenes out and stuff like that. But like as far as editing and stuff like that, like I went to an art school, so like I have an idea of how to edit things and how to paste stuff. Yeah. So, once that goes out of your control, I kind of get a little obsessive about it.
That's the most fun for me. Again, I edit, the Instagram video I made for you. Great, I loved it. That is actually more fun for me than sometimes doing the show.
Mm-hmm. Those videos.
So what else do you have going on other than the show? So you got
I got a music video coming out. Yeah, which is gonna be cool.
What it is? What song is it for?
It's for Touch. Okay. We're meaning to get it out, but we're finding the right place to put it down on.
That's just hard, man. You got to shop it around. You got to get the
Well, no, it's the thing is I had someone shopping it around, and she's fairly known for doing PR and stuff. But, it was ultimately something that was being done for free, and she has paying clients because she
yeah.
believed in it. But it's one of those things where it's like sometimes what people want to do, it outstrips their actual ability, what they can do.
You got to answer prayers in the order you're paid for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. It's coming out very soon.
Awesome.
That's all I know. I think it's going to come out right before the Good Room show on the 3rd.
Awesome.
So that will be cool. I also got new songs recorded and stuff too, and some of them I could just put out and just post online.
If you want to send some my way, I would not be against
actually,
that.
I will.
God, I just died. My brain just died.
Brain farts, they happen.
So, are you gonna keep kind of doing what you're doing, or are you gonna try to branch out in other musical directions?
No,
or?
I mean, like, I'm definitely gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Like, I have a couple different ideas of things that I'm doing. Like, I'm doing like a Cramps cover EP, of songs and stuff like that. So I'm definitely gonna go kind of in that range.
All right.
But like, I write what I like to write and what I like to play. I've made a bunch of other types of music. I've been in other types of bands. I've done like songwriting projects just for myself where I'll write on top of pre-existing drum beats and try to do a song in 4 hours, 5 hours.
Right.
And those have been completely different. Like if I played it for you, it would be unrecognizable to everything.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And so it's just like of stuff that I'm going to probably put out. Yeah. It's all going to be in the same thing because I don't want to be like schizophrenic about it. Like I don't like necessarily want to have it be like, oh, this dude made some song that's some like weird funk song or something. Yeah,
you want people to get excited and they're like, yeah, Casey Hopkins, and you're like, what is this shit?
It's just like a dance song. This
doesn't What's this EDM crap you're putting out, Casey?
No, it's never EDM. I actually have a friend that's incredible at that stuff, and like I know people that have been really successful, but that's not my bag.
No,
I like 6 years ago, like when all that stuff was really taking off and like people were making money, like I'm from South Florida and like you have Ultra and all that stuff. People are like, just like why don't you do this? Like production is like the way to go and DJing's the way to go, and like you're struggling playing all this instrument stuff. I'm like, no, it's not. I can still play in a band. That stuff's pretty awesome. I have fun doing that.
So Casey, we got about 45 seconds.
Yeah.
I need you to tell me where people can find all your stuff.
Oh my God. Okay, you can find it on Bandcamp at thecaseyhopkinsduo.bandcamp.com, or I think SoundCloud/thecaseyhopkinsduo. I can't remember. Or Facebook.com/thecaseyhopkinsduo. I think
it's a trio.
The Casey Hopkins Trio.
Right.
That's right. Trio. I can't keep track of it.
It's
on the
same, and it's duo on Twitter as well. Casey Hopkins Duo. And on Instagram, it is also Casey Hopkins Guitar.
Yes, Casey Hopkins Guitar. It's at Casey Hopkins Guitar on Instagram. That's where you're finding me. That's where you'll find me being a jokester.
Well, Casey, thanks for coming on, man.
No problem.
And anytime, come back. And November 30th, check us out both out at Good Room. B-Box Radio, check out the replay on Affinity Radio on Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. London time, 5 p.m. Eastern. OTR_Radio Hour. We're going to close out with Casey's song, Die for This, Trippin'. My name is Adam, Old Time Religion.